When it comes to understanding toxic parenting, what many people may think of when hearing that phrase is if it correlates with strict parenting. While they may not necessarily be the same thing, some believe the practice can have serious and negative consequences and can relate to toxic parenting, while others see no problem in being a more authoritative parent. Maybe some of you guys have been affected by this topic, or maybe you've never heard of it before. Either way, this issue is nonetheless plaguing children around the globe. The idea being tried in this speech involves the pros and cons of strict parenting. With the article, Authoritarian Parenting, the Pros and Cons, according to a child psychologist, many people believe that strict parenting is a parenting style that allows its children to become more well-behaved and in line in the long run. Parents that make certain set of rules in their homes, monitor what their child does or doesn't do, and follows the children should be heard, not seen logic, wholeheartedly believe that the way they raise their child allows them to be at their best so that they can be safer. According to the article, strict parenting is fading, but most people wish it wasn't, made by William Jordan. 82% of adults believe it is better for a parent to be strict. Another statistic from an article called The Payoff of Strict Parenting from the Washington Post, made by Michelle Singletary, states how there are higher rates of strict parenting in countries like the United States and China, where they care about hard work and obedience. On the other hand, there are people that hold the opposite belief, that strict parenting is not only controlling and manipulative, but that it ultimately has a negative impact on children. This sort of parenting style can be seen as a form of toxic parenting, and many speak out about how these types of parents are emotionally and physically abusive. Forms of this include neglecting a child's emotional and outside needs and using their own child's emotions to manipulate them into doing what they want. This type of parent has been proven to be malignant whenever they constantly disrespect their children as individuals when they ask or try to do something that they don't necessarily agree with, and when they don't comprehend their own toxic behaviors. However, if our childhood was traumatic, we carry wounds from abusive or dysfunctional parenting. That is a quote from Darlene Lancer, a licensed therapist, in her article, 12 Clues a Relationship with a Parent is Toxic, which discusses how destructive this type of parenting can be and provides ways in which victims of this abuse can cope with the situation. With this information, another con discussed with this topic is how strict parenting can ruin a child's emotional psyche, meaning their mind. There have been studies that have proven the mental toll strict parents can have on their youth. With a strict parent constantly controlling and making a closed-off environment in their home, their children should be subject to a variety of mental issues. These include depression, anxiety, body dysmorphia, and more. These can not only lead to a use of drug and alcohol as a coping mechanism, but also result in potential suicidal thoughts. Even the way a child acts is impacted by guardians who try to control their lives. The video 10 Signs of Emotional Abuse from Parents from the YouTube channel Psych2Go describe more in detail how when parents set high standards on their kids, it can lead to psychological consequences. This can be hard on a child because it's difficult for them to form their own identity if they're being told who to be. Rebellion and disobedience can come from a strict parenting home because most of the time the kids are done with their parents telling them what to do. Not all strict parents follow this example, but there are cases in which kids are living in a home where they are monitored and have to act a certain way to appease their parents. A great example to support these cons and end the speech is the iconic story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her mom, Dee Dee Blanchard. Their story involves Dee Dee Blanchard, a mother lying and forcing her child to believe she was born with several medical conditions. She coerced her child into being her pawn and made her into something that she wanted. Her being a strict and abusive parent ultimately led to her death when her own daughter Gypsy plotted her murder after all that her mother put her through. Overall, this ongoing debate still stands, and up-and-coming parents are having to make decisions on how they will raise their future kin.